Since people from Delhi. Fantastic. We've got somebody from Islamabad today as well. Welcome. We've got people from Manali. Mumbai. Great. We'll wait for another 30 seconds to a minute. Just to allow everybody to get into the room before we get started. Great to see over 250 of you here today. The idea is that today's session should hopefully make you, or help you rather, in your decision-making journey towards a master's program at MIP, Politecnico di Milano Graduate School of Business. Once again, for several of you that are joining in, keep posting where you're coming in from today for the next minute or so. Again, a very warm welcome, and my name, for the few of you that have joined a bit later, my name is 𝗀𝗲𝗏. I'll be moderating today's session, and we're really pleased to have Dr. Portioli and Ms. 𝗀𝗲𝗏𝗿 who will be with us today to talk about smart technologies in practice. Before we get to that, a quick understanding of our partner, MIP, for today. MIP is the business school of the Politecnico di Milano, which is one of the best scientific and technological universities in the world. For more than 40 years, MIP has engaged in providing management programs for graduates, professionals, companies, institutions, and public administrations. It is one of the leading schools in Italy. And our key speaker today, Professor Portioli, is a full professor of operations and supply chain management at MIP. He loves the blend of research, teaching, consulting to develop new knowledge and insights on how to effectively operate and improve service and manufacturing companies and make employees, managers, and shareholders happier. We're excited about today's session and looking forward to ensuring that this session today helps you to make more informed choices. Great. So before moving any further, welcome everybody. We're going to run a quick poll at this point, just to understand where in that decision-making journey you are. So our panelists today have a better gauge on the audience too. You will see a poll on your screen at this point. Tell us, what is your intended study year? In which year do you plan to pursue your postgraduate program, in this case, a master's? Is it 2022? Is it 2023? Is it 2024 or later? We'll keep this up for about 30 seconds. Just very quickly, if you choose the option that resonates most with you from the options on the screen, in which year do you plan to start your master's program? Is it 22? Is it 2023? Or is it 2024 or later? Lots of responses coming in. We're nearly 350 of us in the room. We'll wait for another 10 seconds. In which year do you plan to start your master's program? Is it 2022, 23, or 24 or later? Great. We will now close the poll. Let's see what the intent in the audience room is. So it's a pretty even split. There's about 30% of you who are looking to start in 2022, around 35% in 23, and around 35% in 24 or later. So wonderful. We hope today's session does help you make up your mind on if MIP is an option for you. And we're really excited for Professor Portioli's presentation. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to him for a bit more of his introduction and then taking us through the master's.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be here with you. And without ado, I will share the screen for this chat we get together. And please feel free to ask your question in the chat. We collect them, and toward the end, we will give an answer to all of them. And today we will see how this master is gonna to be delivered, that we like to always find new ways to transfer knowledge to the new generations. And we start with people. Bor is marketing and recruitment at MIT and in charge of this program. And for all the new aspects and nice aspects, you can refer to her. And I'll be the director who designed this program to satisfy the company's need in terms of management, blending together management and technology. So I name this class Smart Technologies in Practice because the idea with this program is not to stay in a classroom speaking about technologies, but to see how they work so that you can use them at best in your professional life in the area of operations management. I've been working in operation management for all my career, as a student first, and then as a researcher and a professor in both manufacturing and service. And I've been working with many Italian and European companies to improve their operations. So I like to put all this knowledge with my colleagues into a training program for you. So let's start with what operations is about and what the Chief Operating Officer is doing. So as you can see from this organizational chart, the Chief Operating Officer is the one coordinating and integrating all areas that pertain to operations. So operations area is concerned with research and development, product design, engineering, purchasing, production, distribution, planning, quality, after-sales service. So you might wonder what is not part of operation. Well, usually in a manufacturing company, marketing and sales are not part of operations, and accounting and finance are not part of operations. All the others are under the umbrella of operations. That's why more and more companies are appointing a Chief Operating Officer to integrate these different areas so that they can smoothly work together to give the best performances for the company and for the customer. So how is doing this and what for the operation manager? I like to refer to the 3 Ps. So operation manager has in charge of improving profit for the company. I mean, the business must be sustainable from the profit perspective. So generating money to reward all the ones that are working in it. People, because people are the most important resource of a company. So the Chief Operating Officer is in charge of deciding how things has to be performed, what tasks, who is doing it, and how. So this is affecting a lot the satisfaction of people working in a company. And so I think it's a responsibility of the Chief Operating Officer, let's say, to make people happier. If you have people that are happier with what they're doing, their performances are incredibly better. So you have an enthusiastic group of people working together to achieve the final goals of the company. That is profit on the one hand, but also to have a good impact on the society. And the last P is planet, to have a sustainable business and operation. The way you use resources is affecting a lot our planet. So again, operation is in charge and can influence a lot what is the impact on a company, on the planet, due to the behavior of a company. So the program will start with courses on general management and digitalization to give you a good base on management and on the evolution of digitalization and what digitalization is bringing to as opportunities for business and for companies. But then we deepen different areas of operations and see how in this new era they are developed. So blending together the new technologies, so Industry 4.0, into the different areas of operation, because the one aiming at becoming the chief operating officer has to have an overview on the functioning of the different areas, so to be able to integrate them and to coordinate their action to get the best overall performances. Okay, but this will not be done stay in the four walls of a classroom. We have the opportunity to work with our competence center that is led by Politecnico di Milano and is a specific competence center on Industry 4.0, so that we can see the technologies in practice and have a better understanding on them, although the specialization is not being a technology specialist, but to know how they work and how they can change the working of a company. Okay, this is the logos of the partners. You must recognize many of them. Building made competence center, and the one in a circle are the ones that also already join as partner of this program. So on the Master in Smart Operation and Industry 4.0. This is the inside. When you enter, you have this view of very bright light with an open area in the middle for conferences and gathering. Companies come here to have a look at the opportunity of the different technologies and get training on the different technologies. And so we will exploit this area that here you have a layout is organized in 6 sub areas with a group of different technologies, so that companies can get a training moving from one area to the others, and also master programs like this one here can exploit the presence of the technology there, looking and taking the different ones that they are interested in. But let's go and see inside and have Mario telling us a little bit about the competence center.
MADE, Competence Center Industry 4.0, gives you the experience of a complete production process cycle, from the planning stage to designing a product and then producing it, using a wide selection of technologies. From product design to internal logistics, 20 demonstrators provide orientation, learning, and technological transfer with manufacturing companies in mind. Our facilities with lecture rooms and large internal spaces are unique in their kind, offering a welcoming atmosphere and a wide spectrum of resources to visitors from all around the world. The first technological area is the design unit, and is also where the product's digital twins are created. The list of software include three-dimensional modeling, mechanical and fluid dynamic simulation. So, what makes it different from a normal simulation laboratory? As well as collaboration tools, products are also linked up with augmented and virtual reality tools. We start from Product Lifecycle Management Tools, PLM, which enable integrated product data management and project task planning. The tools can be configured to summarize data in the way that is best for the user and can include data from other business systems. We then go on to the real design phase with cutting-edge 3D geometric modeling software, connected to tools for running real-time simulations, kinematic, structural, fluid dynamics, and multi-physics simulations, as well as software to optimize production processes and costs. Virtual reality solutions in this area can reproduce a digital product that closely matches the real thing. Project results are visualized using HMD visors, including thorough collaborative shared space. The area features a virtual reality room, cave, where multiple users can be immersed and work together on reviewing and fine-tuning their project. This space is one of the largest in Italy. Its workstations and projects provide high data computing power.
Okay, so exploiting this, we can go and touch the technologies and understand what is the revolution they're bringing to the different part of operation. So how a product is now can be designed and be digitalized so that the user can have a first-hand impression and can work on it as if it were already realized and understand it better if they like it or not, or if it's working well or is not working so well. But not just the product design, then we go to the manufacturing. So there is a compact plant where there is a machine tool and also logistics 4.0 with AGVs moving and using this from the design perspective of the plant, the functioning and the logics of lean management to make it as efficient as possible.
The second area is reserved for digital twins. Lean Production and Logistics 4.0 is a small compact plant where the production of mechanical valves for the oil and gas industry is simulated in a production chain involving a mechanical processing station where several valve components are customized, a manual assembly station where the valve body and components are assembled, an automated station for completing the assembly and testing the valve. The area includes robotic and mechatronics components, a transport line, AGVs for intralogistics, a machine tool, and a station where individual components are assembled manually. The entire process is replicated in this area, including the product's ergonomic design, with the option of opening a few perspectives.
So I'm really excited of this opportunity that you can go and see how they work, and each area is also designed to show it how it is without digitalization and with digitalization to make better understand what's the impact and what is the opportunities that technologies and Industry 4.0 can bring to the process and the different part of it. So a quick look also at the production planning, another course that is addressed there. So with the quick view of the impact or how can be handled, the receiving the order and making it fulfill. So with the different partners can show their contribution, which can be hardware and or software, to make a seamless process throughout all the phases and have it in full control. So to give defect-free products to the customer in the fastest possible way with the lowest cost and the highest quality. We also have the opportunity to see, and we'll address how manufacturing changes with the new processes. I mean, not just improving or making faster machine tools or more precise one, but also the impact of totally different processes. In particular, additive manufacturing, or named 3D printing, where you have a printer and you build it, putting together small, very small parts of metal or plastic or polymeric material to build the product in totally new shapes, directly connected with the design of the CAD design and transforming into the product and opening up very different possibilities. You can even control it from far away. So design the product and launch production from here and have it realized in India, China, Germany, wherever it is. Let's have a look at how this can happen.
The fourth area is where we link the product's design to its production. A polymer 3D printer is used for additive manufacturing to print details in color and of considerable size, together with a printer that uses metal powder. These processes enable operators to compare materials and study new components in shapes virtually impossible to produce using traditional systems. The focus is once again on the process and thus to replicate the process phases. The powders are handled in an ATEX area with one zone reserved for finishing. A vibrating screen is used for the external finishing and abrasive paste for internal finishing. Another set of small 3D printers is used for training purposes and to show how important it is to design an item properly before printing it. Additive manufacturing, or 3D printing, is an enabling technology in the new digital factory. Operators can design and produce highly customized products with totally new geometrics and performance, which are hard or impossible to obtain using traditional technologies. Parts can be made only where and when they are needed, components can be repaired, and their life extended, and the entire supply chain replanned, making it more efficient and sustainable. When every product is different from every other product and the forms are increasingly more complicated, all the ways we plan, manage, and control quality must also be reviewed.
You have seen how amazing product you can achieve with producing 3 spheres, one within the other. It's the blue one, and then the green one, and then the red one. Okay, and the other amazing aspect, so you can totally redesign the supply chain and the manufacturing footprint around the world, is that you can control and have your products manufactured at your customer site with a 3D printer there, so you can decide and have it produce all different kind of products, what they are needed at that moment, and particularly when they are all different from the others, when in very small volume and like a spare part, for example, so you can produce it at the moment that you need it, and exactly the spare part that is needed, that are so broadly diverse one from the other. Or test and try new ones and see different shapes, which ones works better before starting with high volume production. And also the testing phase can be automatized, and this, as we see here with this valve in this station, all information are collected and automatically tested. I'll show you in a minute. And in the meantime, you collect all information about the characteristics that came out from the test, not just pass or not pass. So you can store it, and you can track all the history of this component. So particularly for the one that are linked to safety, but also for more general one to anticipate possible failures or to better and quicker understand what the problem is, because you know the history of the product and of his component. This is a valve that is automatically tested. So the results, and then you have all the data that are collected. So it's connected, tested for leakages, the pressure, and then it's brought back and marked with the pass for the test. These are different phases of the process. So we will go and deepen the different technologies that are available in the different areas of operations. And then we go with the improvement. So not just how to do things, but also how to improve them. That it's the part that is personally exciting more for me, because if you're good at improving, you will beat all your competitors, because no matter where you start from, if you improve more than your competitors, you will overtake them. And improving is a very rewarding activity. Every time I work with a company and the people in a company, and I ask them, hey, what have been the activities that made you happier? Give me some experience of when you went home happy, satisfied of what you did, and tell me what you did. 99% of cases, the answer is, I solved a problem. I found a way to improve. Because doing always the same thing is boring. So what is amazing, what is rewarding is to solve problem, is to improve over what is done now. So for this area, we devote a full course on operational excellence and improving. And one of this is using the lean management approach, and technologies are also helping in this case.
The first is lean manufacturing, where simulation and gamification tools are used to remodel workspaces and semi-finished product warehouses. Lean manufacturing is a structured approach and, when applied methodically, can transform a company's production system into a lean, linear, and stable process, ready for 4.0 technologies. Mechatronic processes and logistics can also be remodeled using the plant's virtual commissioning solutions. Lastly, material can be moved within the plant using Logistics 4.0, and the product's progress can be traced in real time. A fleet of AGVs from different manufacturers is used to demonstrate various integrated single-operator setups. An innovative indoor navigation system combined with a positioning system based on BLE beacons can be used to replan trajectories and identify the component used in the demonstration.
So having the possibility to change things, it's challenging and extremely rewarding. It would be nice, it would be possible to try many different options, and see many different scenarios, because it's impossible in a complex system like a manufacturing plant to figure out upfront everything with a theoretical model. So what can we do? What we do is to digitalize the plant or the area, and so simulate what is happening with the layout of the different parts, robots, operators, AGVs, as you see here, and then running the production and checking, because the simulator collects the information and checking how it is, the performances. And you see that here the engagement of the AGV is lesser than 1/4 and is waiting most of the time. So let's try a different solution. So we pick up a buffer that and change the layout and the routing of the AGVs and the activity of the operator, the sequence of the activity. Okay, let's check out this other solution. How is it? Okay, now we have engagement of 90%, big improvement. So here it's easy to test many different options, see what the performance is, and then try another one, and then another one, till we go to one that is satisfying, the best one we can find out. And then implement it in practice, the change. So this digital twins and digitalization of the plant and the area allows us to virtually test different improvement and see which one is bringing the best effect, and then implement it in practice. But we can also help operators to work
My name is
better.
Jörg. I'm part of the X Factory team here at LiveWorks 2019, and I want to show you some of the use cases of our digital workforce productivity solutions. So I'm using Operator Advisor to get my work instructions. So as an operator, I authenticate myself to the machine, and then I get my tasks and my work orders coming from different systems. So I choose this work order, and now with the work order and the station, so the capabilities I have, I get unique work instructions. So I will start the work instructions because we want to also get OEE, so overall equipment effectiveness. So that's the need for timing of those work instructions. So I start them. It jumps directly to the first task I need to do. I see some steps over here. I see some graphics. And the first thing is to take care if everything on my table is available. The next step would be, I need to drag something from my bin over here, but let me switch into augmented reality. So now you see augmented, we have a mounted camera over here. You can see it's streaming the table. And now I can also step by step going here and say, take this shelf from the bin and put it in here into the fixture. Next step would be take the frame from here and put it in here. So I will do that. Next step, close the clamp and take one of those screws. You may recognize those bins are also connected. So I cannot do any mistakes by taking the wrong screw. So it's sliding up green and I'm taking the screw here, confirm it, that I choose the right screw. And then I take the screwdriver, the smart connected screwdriver, which gets immediately when this step is active, the actual torque that I need to use. So I'm using it. And it says, I have reached the right torque. You see, it jumps to green and get a check mark over here. The next one I need to do are the middle screws. So I'm jumping over here.
So there is a guideline to what screw use and where to use it, and a direct connection to sense the torque. So the screwdriver is set to the right torque. So all screws get screwed with the same torque and the best one for that purpose. So there is a feedback from the fixture back to the system in what has been done. Here you saw that came green the other bean, so because it's a different screw to use. So it's a simple.
When I'm done with my work, I can jump back to these work instructions, and it says, open the clamp for me. I do that. On the next step, weigh the complete door, because this is kind of the quality control that we are doing. So I put it on the scale, which is connected via our industrial connectivity platform, and I get the weight 2.9 kilo. And it shows me here 2.9 kilo, and it passes. So I have everything done correctly. I can jump to the next step and do the final verification for quality. I pass it and said, this one is a complete door that can be assembled at the razor. So I move it under the table, and my job is fulfilled. This door can be now assembled on the razor itself.
Okay, so with the scale, you check that the weight is the expected ones. If not, it's because probably you miss one or more screws or other components. So it's a quick and easy way to check whether there is something wrong. And so this system can be used to train an operator on self-training, and also to help the operator to avoid making mistakes. And PTC, provider of this system, is one of the partners of the program, as I told you. Then the product is sent to the customer and has to be maintained, or our equipment or our machine tools have to be maintained. Therefore, there is the area of maintenance and after-sales services.
The fifth area is specifically for smart maintenance, industrial process control, and energy monitoring. Within this area are 2 tool machines plus service systems to distribute electric energy and compressed air. We also carry out demonstrations on remotely monitored systems located in factories elsewhere in Italy. In this section, we can simulate the behavior of systems, or part thereof, in a wide number of companies to plan consumption and thus create an optimum process for managing energy usage in their equipment. As well as training the Internet of Things framework as the starting point, the area highlights computing architectures that exploit the potential of both edge computing and cloud computing, using resources and services accessible remotely. Data analytics and machine learning are used to monitor, control, and predict how assets will perform during the industrial process, with 2 key purposes: control the degradation of the various components to anticipate maintenance needed by detecting anomalies and predicting faults. Ensure electric energy efficiency in the various processing cycles, starting with acquiring data online. The area also features the virtual representation of machines and equipment achieved by means of digital twins. Lastly, augmented reality technologies at the service of the operator are also presented in the area.
So with online and continuous monitoring of the system, you can anticipate possible problems. So, for example, if there is a shaft turning with a ball bearing to reduce the friction, you can record the vibration. So with sensor, you monitor vibration, and you know from the history that as long as vibration are within a certain limit, there is no problem, as everything is working fine. But as the ball bearings, the balls of the ball bearing are wearing, vibration increase, and therefore before any jam happen or breakdown is signaling you, hey, Alberto, listen, the ball bearing is not in the perfect shape, is wearing out. So order a new one and get ready to change it. Collecting this information, then we have the possibility to analyze and find opportunity for improvement, or if there is a problem, to find what the cause is, so to intervene and remove the cause.
The sixth area is concerned with data management and cybersecurity. Here we see how innovative solutions can work on suitable technologies to analyze data efficiently, effectively, and safely. If we take as an example the production of a braking system for cars, where some processing stations are emulated and others are simulated, we can appreciate the mass of data generated and transmitted in a factory and how these data can be analyzed at speed, in bulk, and in aggregation. The source of data is a line that simulates the real process of monitoring a small brake piston. A subsidiary station can generate images and shows a small cylinder, part of the previous process, being mounted on the brake calipers. Simulator software used in another part of the facility generates a large mass of data. The processes produce a vast amount of information that is fed into a database which contains other types of data, including time series, images, and business KPIs. Here, several multimedia systems narrate how to manage these data.
Data, great source of information, and it's not just the data, the key point is how to analyze them. Many companies are collecting data in PLC or numerical control of the machine, but then the point is, how do we use that data? How can we get information out of the data, useful information to improve our system? And we finish again with people, the most important resource. And so is automation making people useless? How is that? I don't think so. I think that technology is there, or we should use it to help people, to empower people, make people abilities bigger, stronger. Let's hear what Carl is saying.
Robots. We couldn't imagine it at first. What could a robot do here? We just grew into it. Then we got the first mobile assistants and the first presses, and then we built this production island and started working inside it. And it turned out, yes, that is pretty good. It's just easier. I press the button and the whole workbench simply moves to the next workplace. I can walk right behind the thing. At the same time, I can look at the order. I can take out a part. All that wasn't possible before. Back then, you had a fixed workplace. You had to turn around, bend down, and carry out the heavy stuff. That's why automation is there. It takes the physical work away from me. The automation is clever. That's why the error rate has become much smaller. So work has not become more boring. It's more interesting now, more diverse. Everything that is automated, I don't have to worry about as a worker. It happens automatically. But everything else I'm involved in needs my judgment, of course. That's my job. We all have our part. Automation and people.
Yeah. Automation and robots doing the repetitive stuff, the boring ones, and people be focused on the smart aspects to use mostly their brain. Thank you for listening. I will pass floor to Bor to tell you a little bit more about our city and our school.
Thank you, Professor Portioli, for a lovely presentation. Firstly, this is fantastic. I personally learned a lot more about smart operations, and hopefully we can deploy some of that in our businesses too. Before we move on to board, a quick note for the audience. If you have any questions for Professor Portioli or for the next part of the presentation, please feel free to put the question in the Q&A tab at the bottom of your screen. And also, we're just going to run a quick poll at the moment. So let's understand a bit more about what you all are looking to study at this point. There should be a poll on your screen. Which tech domain interests you the most for your master's education? Is it Industry 4.0? Is it smart operations? Is it supply chain management? So which of these domains interests you the most? Is it Industry 4.0? Is it smart operations? Or is it supply chain management? We'll hold off here for 30 seconds. Wonderful. So very quickly, which of these domains interests you the most for your master's program? Is it smart operations? Is it Industry 4.0? Or is it supply chain management? We're going to close the poll in less than 5 seconds at the moment. So please make sure you've expressed your interest in the domain most important to you. And let's close the poll now and let's see what the audience is interested in. Wonderful. So there's 45% of you who are interested in smart operations, about 36% of you who are interested in supply chain management, and about 20% of you who are looking at Industry 4.0 as your key program for your master's degree. Wonderful. With that in the background, I'd love to invite 𝗀𝗲𝗿 to tell us a bit more about the programs on offer at MIP. 𝗀𝗲𝗿.
Thank you so much, Paras. Thank you so much, Professor Portioli, for this very insightful presentation. The videos were really interesting, and I'm sure that our audiences got some useful insights from them. Now we're going to look at some information about our beautiful city of Milan, in case any of you are actually wanting to come to this place and choose it as your study destination. And Milano is where we're located. It is, of course, the business hub of Italy. It is famous for its fashion and design excellence. It is the most vibrant, the most cosmopolitan, and the most international city in Italy. Beforehand, some people were asking about cost of living in Milan. Just to answer that question very quickly, it's 800 to 1,200 euros per month. That's the student cost of living if you are in Milan, a little bit higher than other cities in Italy. Okay. Prof Portioli, would you be moving to the next slide for me, please?
Yeah.
Okay, and we're part of Politecnico di Milano. So the subjects that we saw today, for example, smart operations, operational excellence, of course, supply chain management, logistics, materials management, all the allied topics are a big area of expertise for us. Politecnico di Milano is a design, architecture, and engineering university by origin, and the #1 technical university in Italy, and we are part of it. Okay, next slide, please. MIP is a slightly different legal entity. So as a legal entity, we are part of Politecnico di Milano. So we form part of the School of Management of Politecnico di Milano, along with the Department of Management Engineering. But apart from the ownership of Polimi, we are also owned by a group of these Italian and multinational companies that you can see on the screen. What you see here is just the tip of the iceberg. In addition to this, we collaborate with 9,000 companies, actually. And these companies help us in designing the syllabi of each of our master and MBA programs. And in addition to that, they also help us by rolling out internship and job opportunities for our candidates to access them during and after the program. Okay, the next one, and we're very well accredited. So we now hold the triple crown. So recently we have received the AACSB accreditation, which means that now we form part of the top 6% of the business schools in the world, which hold the AACSB accreditation, the AMBA accreditation for the MBA, and the AQUIS accreditation for our master programs. So if any of you are going to access any of the masters that we are about to present today, including the one in Smart Operations and Industry 4.0, you are likely to join a school which is triple accredited. Okay, on to the next one. We have a very wide international network. So we are based in Milan, but some of our programs offer some double degree or exchange opportunities, like a semester or exchange abroad opportunities in many countries of the world, primarily in Europe. Okay. And this slide summarizes the key details of our various master programs. So the masters in question today, of course, the prime one is the International Master in Smart Operations and Industry 4.0. And we're going to also look at some related topics, but as a snapshot of the key information, these are the details. So all our programs are 100% English taught, full-time face-to-face on campus, starting in fall 2022 and are for 1 year. The tuition fee is 18,500 euros. The main acceptance criteria is for you to have a bachelor's degree of at least 3 years. Okay. And here we have the Smart Operations and Industry 4.0 program. So Prof. Portioli, would you like to give a few more details about it?
Well, you have it on the screen. So the key point, as I said, is that companies are appointing a chief operating officer to integrate all the different areas, so to manage the complexity of their activities. And that's why the chief operating officer is one of the top managers with the highest pay according to pay scale. And why smart? Because with the new technologies, companies are bound to invest in this technology and in people knowing how to handle them, a big portion of their budget.
Absolutely.
Okay. So as we mentioned before, after the program, you will be able to start in any of the areas that pertain to operations. So a broad range of opportunities, not just in one areas, but starting in any, from quality to engineering to logistics to manufacturing, and then scaling up to become the chief operating officer.
Absolutely.
To you for the other program.
Of course. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Prof. Portioli. And we have two other related topics in case some of you are interested in the field of supply chain management, which is also a topic in which we have a very big level of expertise. It's one of our fortes, given that we are part of Politecnico di Milano, which is an engineering university, and supply chain management being a technical topic by nature, we've ought to have a big level of expertise here. In this program, you learn about everything related to the supply chain domain: operations, procurement, logistics, materials management, vendor management, buying. All the allied topics are covered. Here, some interesting industry trends are on the screen. Okay, we can move further, Prof. Okay, and another related topic is the field of sustainable industrial management. So like Prof. Alberto highlighted before, one important P in this whole arena is the planet. So more and more companies are now trying to understand if their manufacturing processes, their research efforts, marketing and sales efforts, distribution channels, supply chain efforts are coherent with the planet management strategy, so that if they are eco-friendly enough, if they're not harming or causing a bad impact for the environment, for the people around it as well. So this is what we try to cover in this particular master. And then more and more companies, factories, and industries are going to need people trained in the field of sustainable management. And this is one niche area within that umbrella of sustainability. Okay. All right. Now, a very quick word on the application. So if anyone, well, career development as well, I was going to skip it. So all that we do at MIP, which is a business school essentially, is industry integrated. So we collaborate with more than 9,000 companies, like we said before. These companies help us, like I said, in the design of the curriculums of our programs, but they also participate in the various career development activities that we organize, including career fairs, on-campus recruitment days. We organize special workshops with LinkedIn, for example, and all of that is done to help you land an internship opportunity that you can take up in the final part of the program, or a job opportunity eventually to be taken up after the program. So our career development center is going to be with you in a one-on-one sense to help you frame a career strategy for yourself, analyze your pre-master profile, and understand where you want to go after graduation. Okay. Like I said, we work with more than 9,000 companies, so that precise figure touched 9,054 companies that had an active connection with the school last year. Okay, moving on. Right. Any of you who's interested in making an application for one of the masters that we presented today, including the one in smart operations and supply chain, can get your application started on our online application platform, which is called applyformasters.net. You have to answer all the questions, submit the documents, and pay the application fee of €100, followed by which you will participate in an online interview of 20 minutes. And if the result of that is positive, you will be admitted. Then for the financial aspect, the one very key information that many of you may have been waiting for is that for the participants, especially of today's session, we have created a special discount code, which you can see on the screen, which is SEED27JAN2022. So C27Jan2022, and using this you can avail a discount on the application fee. So instead of €100, it will become €50. And once you pass the selections and are admitted to the program, you will get an early bird discount of €1,000, and on top of that, you will also get a merit-based scholarship of €1,500. This is exclusively for the participants of today's webinar. So do take advantage. Do make an application before 25th of February to get a reduction on the application fee, and also to get these special two waivers, the early bird discount and the merit-based scholarship for the attendees of today's webinar. Okay, we do have other categories of merit-based scholarships as well, which you can apply for, but these would be the easiest to avail, I would say. Okay, all right, then the final slide. So we are just a little bit away from the questions part, and Prof. Portioli is still with us to answer any of your questions related to the topic of the webinar, or anything else that you might want to know about the selection process, about MIP, about anything else in general. If you're curious to learn about student and expat life in Milan, I'm happy to share with you the link of my YouTube channel, which you can view as a prospective student or a prospective expatriate, for example. The majority of the attendees today are from the Indian subcontinent, so essentially non-European candidates. So this is a medium that we have created for young students like you, who would like to explore Milan beforehand, but even before arriving over here. So we have some very useful information about cost of living, which was one of the previous questions, accommodation, housing, all the non-academic aspects of student life in our beautiful city of Milano. Okay, so over to you, Paras, and let's get the Q&A started.
Thank you, Bor, and it was great to learn more about the program and some of the additional benefits that students are getting by attending today's session. For all of you, once again, make use of the application fee discount code. It has been posted on the chat box right now. You can make a note of this and do apply before the 25th of February to get an additional early bird discount on top of the €1,500 exclusive scholarship that you get by attending today. So with that, there's a couple of questions in the chat, in the Q&A section. For candidates, please keep posting more questions. We've got about 10 minutes. We'll try and cover as many as we can. So first up, and this something Bor you've touched on briefly already. Let's talk about the cost of living, in numbers. What does that look like for a candidate coming in?
All right. So an average, let's say, living expenditure in Milan on the monthly basis would be 800 to 1200 euros per month. When we say a monthly expenditure, this is meant to include housing, local public transport, the cost of food, groceries, and casual eating out, and some other basic expenses like going for a movie. So this is basically an average that we advise our candidates to set aside per month in order to, fund their living expenses. I know that a lot of master students also get by in much less than this. So I know that a lot of students live in shared accommodations, which tend to cost much less. And that way you may also get by in 750 to 800 euros, but then it's better always to estimate on the higher side so that you don't get any surprises or shocks rather. So this would be the cost of living. The big chunk of this monthly expenditure is, of course, on housing. So Milan is a metropolitan city, and therefore the rents can be comparable to many other European capitals in like Paris or London, for example. So housing is expensive. Rentals could be pricey. They can range between 350 to 850 euros per month, depending on the type of place that you take. So this is, let's say, a comparison. And then other things are less costly in Milan for sure. So for example, the price of coffee, for example, is €1 versus 2.5 or 3 in other cities like Paris or London again. So some things are cheaper. Eating out is way more cheap. Okay, so our students pretty much have an aperitivo almost every evening. And this is why also we have opened the new campus in the 𝗀𝗲𝗄𝗏 area, which is meant to be the nightlife and party area of Milan. So for many young students like you, that's going to be a more happening place than our traditional campus in 𝗀𝗲𝗄𝗏, which is in the northern part, which is also very lively, bright, and it's a student neighborhood essentially. But then 𝗀𝗲𝗄𝗏 is the area which is famous for its nightlife. So that's where we have our new campus. So hopefully some of you joining in the September 22 or 23 intakes would actually get to study there. And a local public transport is also cheaper. It's 22 euros if you're under 26 years of age, which is nothing if you look at like an individual ticket cost, which is 2 euros, for example. Okay, so that's some bit of information on the cost of living. Well,
yeah, no, that's very useful, Bor. Thank you so much for that. Professor Portioli, there's a question that I think I want to pass to you next, which is a bit more closer to the learning mechanisms on the program. So one of the candidates attending today has asked, does MIT's program have such application-based learning as shown in the production videos?
Yeah, this program in particular is it's like that because it's in partnership with MADE. So, and we think that it's much more effective learning if you see how technology works and what's the impact. So you can have an hands-on learning. Besides, one course is on operational consulting. So to the extent that the pandemic will allow, which I'm very optimistic about it in 2020-23, as the course will be delivered is toward the end of the program, is about a consulting project in a company. So you will have a tutor meeting you frequently while you address an improvement project in a company. And therefore you have really hands-on activity, even external, not in our MADE partner, but in a company. So facing the operator there and the managers, interacting with them, and a lot of fun, learning and fun.
Fantastic. Thank you, Professor Portioli. There's one more question, and Bor, I'll go to you with this one. Professor Portioli touched briefly on the employability aspect and internships that the program includes as well. there's a question by a candidate who says, how are placements and how do companies, do they hire just locally, or is, if a candidate who want to move back to India, is that something that is an opportunity as well?
Well, absolutely. In fact, in the final part of the program, which is to be precise from June onwards, we keep the period open for a practical assignment to be undertaken by the candidate. This practical assignment can be a corporate internship, a traditional internship in a company. It can be a consulting project. It can be a live project or another type of practical assignment, always involving some or the other company partner that we have. And this is something that the candidates will be able to discuss and decide on together with Professor Portioli, also along with the coordinators and other professors involved in the program. The idea of providing the opportunity of an internship is to help candidates get a kickstart, get an entry point to enter the job market here in Italy in particular and in Europe at large. But of course, if they're willing to go back to their home country and explore opportunities there, they're always there. We have a very big alumni network. So from the Indian subcontinent, we have a huge pool of candidates who have graduated in the past years. Also a very big group who has graduated from the industrial management program, of which Professor Portioli used to be the director, which was a very popular program in the Indian subcontinent, like I've mentioned to Paras sometimes. And so we have a big number of candidates who are now working across the world, around the world, as EMIM alumni, and also back in India and even Pakistan for that matter. So you'll be able to network with them. So the networking does not just stop at academicians, professors, and your peers involved in your class, but it's a very wide network that you get access to. So it's extended faculty, alumni, the industry experts that we involve in the program. Using this network, you will be able to explore a lot of opportunities. Like I said, many of them will be based here in Italy, where you will be based, and several outside of Italy, but mainly in Europe. But then, of course, if you want to go back to your home country as well, our degree is well recognized around the world. Using the reputation and label of Politecnico di Milano, I'm sure you'll be able to access a lot of handsome opportunities even back in India.
Okay, Professor Portioli, is there something you'd like to add, given you've worked with so many candidates who graduated from the program, who've gone back to their home countries as well?
As Bor said, we have a network of alumni there, very happy. And another aspect of the program of being here is to get to know the European culture. And this, I think, gives a huge plus. Even if you go back to India, which is perfectly fine, but you have relationship with Europe. And so having lived here and knowing better the people here, you interact much better. And so it's extremely valuable added pointed to your CV and for the recruiters.
Absolutely. And also that you are going to be part of a group, the class that you'll sit with is essentially composed of 19 to 25 nationalities. So each of our cohorts is composed of at least 19 to 20 nationalities. So you're going to be part of a very diverse group, not just in terms of nationalities, but also in terms of cultural, social, economic, and educational backgrounds as well. So a lot of the candidates will be engineers for sure, but we do also have candidates coming from economics backgrounds or sometimes some other scientific and technical backgrounds as well. So that's a learning experience in itself. And peer-to-peer learning is a very big component, is a very big added value of being at the business school, because it's different from being at the university-based environment. Often big universities have very big classrooms. So sometimes even at our parent university, Politecnico di Milano, some of the classrooms, Professor Portioli, correct me if I'm wrong, have hundreds of people. So it's a different approach altogether. Whereas at the business school, the class sizes are small. So the professor has to interact with everybody. I can tell you that Professor Portioli will be on your head all the time. So He's very strict, but also very friendly, also very fun to learn with, but you have to deliver. You need to perform in the class, participate in the in-class discussion. So it's a different approach. And that's part of the training experience.
Fantastic. Thank you, Bor. Professor Portioli, just building up on that, and I think one of the aspects that the candidates love to learn more about, given everything that's going around with COVID and change in style of operations in broad context. How does MIP's masters equip students to face challenges in this current environment?
Well, it's we are very close, as Bor said. The fact of having small groups allows us to be very close to them and help them integrate with the local culture and rules and to understand them and overcome all difficulties. Because an interesting point, which might be different from what you have in the bachelor, is that we measure our success on the base of our graduate success. So we are absolutely on the same side. So we are next to you and we push you, we challenge you because we know you can do better. And it's our goal for you to be successful, because it's our job, actually. So the more successful you are, the better we are, and we'll be on your side on all different aspects of this.
Wonderful. Thank you, Professor Portioli, for that. There have been a couple of questions more around fees and funding. If you want to summarize both of that, so what is the fees to the programs? And then what is the average amount of financial aid that students can expect in terms of scholarships or other factors? You're on mute, sorry.
Okay, here we go, sorry. So the tuition fee of all the masters that we presented today is 18,500 euros, and that is pretty much the fee of all the programs in our portfolio, except one program that we have in luxury, which is a bit more costly, but 18,500 is our standard fee. On this, the easiest discount to obtain is this early bird tuition fee discount, which you can avail by applying simply before 25th of February 2022. On top of this, for all the attendees of today, of course, the additional merit-based scholarship of 1,500 euros will also be applicable, simply because you have attended today's session with Professor Portioli. And then the discount code basically is to be used when you're making an application. And in the online e-commerce system, when you're paying your application fee, you apply that as a coupon like you do with other online purchases, and the application fee reduces to 50 euros instead of 100 euros. This is all applicable and available for anybody applying before 25th of February, as long as they attended this webinar. You can apply also for other categories of merit-based scholarships, which can cover up to 4,000 euros. The maximum amount, which is 4,000 euros, is available for anybody having a GMAT or GRE score of 590 plus, meaning GMAT of 590 or a GRE equivalent. Of course, GMAT and GRE scores are not needed for admission into any of our programs, but if you happen to have one by chance and it is above 590, you can also apply for the GMAT-based scholarships. Other categories are related to nationality, like regional contribution. If any one of you by chance happen to already be in Italy as an expat, then you can avail the MEEP for expats contribution. So we have various categories, but I would say the easiest ones to avail are those that we have put down in the chat window, and this you can avail simply by making your application before 25th of February, and the interview and everything will happen afterwards, of course, so you don't have to like confirm your participation before this date, but only submit your application before this deadline of 25th of February, so don't forget that. Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you, Bor, for that. One more question, and hopefully we have just enough time for that. And this is another student who's asked this. Is there any preference in particular given to engineering students, or could you throw some light on that expectation?
Okay, so as a general criteria, both types of backgrounds are acceptable. So economics, business management backgrounds, and also engineering and scientific backgrounds. The bulk of the class will come from these backgrounds. Other backgrounds, which are not so conventional, like arts, humanities, design, medicine, nursing, etc., we have to see case by case. So we typically evaluate each and every CV of each and every candidate approaching us. We are talking about thousands of candidates, but we look at the CV of each and every candidate. So we invite you to send us your CV, and we can assess it, because we also take into account work experience, because perhaps you are not exactly from engineering, but you've had some related work experience. We are happy to evaluate that CV together with Professor Portioli, in case you're interested in one of the masters that we presented today. Mostly, yes, engineering and economics related backgrounds are not preferred, but they're more applicable because of the topic of the master. Okay, so there are certain master programs in which we accept all disciplines, so bachelor degrees from all types of disciplines, but this being a partly tech, partly management program, an economics or business background or an engineering or scientific background is more applicable. Prof. Portioli, would you like to add something here just to help us with the expectations of the students? Okay, Prof, you're mute.
Okay, the button with the microphone was disappeared. Okay, I think it's mostly a matter of attitude, not prerequisite of knowledge. So because we are a technical school, quantitative numbers, so it is not frequent that we get an applicant that studied arts or philosophy. Despite when I had to choose my university, I was quite uncertain about philosophy or engineering. So I appreciate a lot arts and philosophy and literature and whatever. So there are no preclusion there. It's simply that then we go into numbers and quantitative aspects. We don't need a prerequisite of knowledge about that, but the attitude, yes, that's important.
Yeah, the mindset has to be. You shouldn't be scared of numbers, like we say during the admissions and recruitment phase. So maybe you don't come from a strictly scientific background, but you need to be open to embracing numbers and working with practical formulae and practical understanding. So this is the idea.
Thank you, Professor Portioli and board for that lovely answer. Just before we let you go, and we are just about out of time, any tips that you would like to leave students with today who are considering to study in Italy and therefore study at MIT as well? Board, we'll go to you first and then go to Professor Portioli.
Well, okay, so I'd give a general tip here, because you can basically apply to several business schools, and you will get to know them more during the application phase. So while your application is being processed, while you're on an interview, while you're interacting with the directors, with the admission directors, or even with the recruiters. So I recommend you to apply for multiple schools, and that will help your decision-making process, just compared to just screening out one and applying only for that. What if you are not accepted for that? So also as a safe strategy. And then as far as MIP's application process is concerned, we advise candidates to be themselves. So be yourself in the interview, be yourself when writing your motivation and cover letter as well. And I wouldn't get into the specific document-wise requirements, but this is a general feedback that we like to give to candidates. And be active and proactive in the application process. Ask as many questions as you would like, because that shows your motivation and involvement. So yeah, this is the idea, and we are here to help you. So I'm going to share also I'll take the opportunity to share my email ID and phone number here. So in case any one of you would like to contact us for a pre-assessment of your profile, or have a small orientation session, for example, to discuss about your case, to discuss about your CV, you can contact me on this email. or on this phone number via WhatsApp or phone. And we're very much available to speak to you and to give you like a personal, let's say, personalized solution, because there are a set of programs. In total, we have 25 master programs on offer, often, and many of them involve innovation and digitalization as keywords. So as a candidate, as a prospective student, I can understand that it might be difficult for you to make a decision, pick the one that is most applicable for you. So we advise you to get in touch with us, and we can speak on a more one-on-one basis and provide you a solution. Of course, I am the marketing, admissions, and recruitment all together, a mix of a person for the Asian market, including the Indian subcontinent. So I will be in touch with you throughout the selection process, and it's my pleasure to meet young students like you and to help you out throughout the selection process. So, well, we have a question popping up in the meantime. I'm just finishing my phone number here, which is 345.
And while Bo is typing that, Professor Portioli, would you like to give your advice as well to students?
Yeah, well, I think that if you're in this call, you are considering studying abroad, but I also know that might be a little bit scary. So my advice is this one here. If it is a little bit scary for you, it is also for others. And therefore, do it, because you get an advantage. You grow. If you only do things that you are very comfortable with, you're not growing. So grab this opportunity. We are there to help you. So I'm sure you're going to make it. And you will get an advantage over the others, because now competition is global. So you will be competing for jobs with people from all around the world, and you therefore have to become able to compete all around the world. So having an experience in Europe and then working all around the globe.
Thank you, Professor Portioli, for that. There is one question on the chat box. Bor, I'm guessing you would like to answer that one more time. Please, if you want to go ahead very briefly and cover that up.
Okay, so it's about the one that's on the fee structure, right? Yes, so it's 18,500 euros. That's your tuition fee for all the masters that we spoke about today, and the rest, most of them in our portfolio. Like I said, we have merit-based scholarships up to 4,000 euros. Those that you can avail very easily are the ones that 𝗀𝗃𝗃 is just posting, the early bird discount and the reduction on the application fee. Right, and then the living expenditure, of course, is well, 690 GMAT. You can definitely avail Isha the GMAT-based scholarship. Absolutely, I confirm. And the living expenditure then is of course separate, so that's 800 to 1,200 euros per month.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Bor. Thank you, Professor Portioli. One last advice from me for candidates listening in. Consider this investment into a master's program. Consider this effort and time and money that you put into this as an investment into yourself, because having done that myself, I won't tell you how long back, but you know, it is a life-changing experience, and what you become to be after is a great product of where you study and what you study. So look at that as an investment, and we wish you the very best. What we are going to do as a follow through to today's session, for many of you who are interested to talk to Bor and the team at MIP more closely, we are going to arrange some smaller group sessions for you. So look out for a call from our team in the coming days, and you will be able to schedule time for getting more personalized questions answered too. With that, all the very best to all the candidates. And thank you, Professor Portioli and Bor, for being with us today.
Thank you to you. It has been a real pleasure. Okay, and good luck to everybody.
Thank you so much. So thank you very much, of course, also from my side to the man of the hour, Professor Portioli, for the fantastic webinar that we could put up today. And thank you so much, Paras, 𝗀𝗃𝗃, and Sanjay from Seed Global Education for arranging this session. Thank you so much, guys. So means a lot, and look forward to having more such informative and fun webinars with you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a
And
good
thank
evening.
you to all the lovely candidates who attended today. We're at the we're almost 1.5 hours in the webinar. We still have, I can see, over 200 people connected. So thank you everyone for your